We're sitting here with Paul Blom, who is one half of the organizers of the South African Horrorfest. Welcome. How have you been?
Thank you. No, pretty well, thanks, man. Yourself?
Good. Busy year.
Yeah.
Finally getting to Halloween season again, still.
Yes. And then it passed, but so we stretch Halloween season out until Christmas.
Yeah.
Every day is Halloween, like the Ministry song, every day is Halloween. So yeah, fuck that. We can do what we want when we want. Unfortunately, the lovely Sonia can't join us. She's working on the Nosferatu soundtrack for the opening show.
Oh yes.
So we have to refresh our memories. We haven't done it in a while, so we have to get back in there.
So how actually, let's start with that. I mean, how has it been revisiting that particular performance and because I remember I still have the disc
DVD
with the film and the soundtrack sort of mixed together.
Yeah, we did that in 2006.
Yeah.
That was like the first Macabre ensemble. The very, very, very first live soundtrack was Matthijs, the violin player in Macabre. He did Phantom of the Opera with some of I think he was still in UCT at the time.
Okay.
It's like a string quintet. They did Phantom of the Opera. But then after that, we chatted and we all wanted to do it. So we all got involved. Myself and Sonia and Simon and Sean. I think Lark was still going at that time.
Yeah.
So we just created the Macabre ensemble, and Nosferatu was the first obvious choice. Like I say, it was 2006. That's a decade and a half ago.
Yeah.
And this year is Nosferatu centenary, so we had to do it.
Yeah.
No, just definitely. A no-brainer.
It's the perfect choice for this year, actually.
Yeah.
But was it like sort of revisiting that performance that you have you made any big changes to it? Are you sort of going this is pretty dope. We were great.
It just worked so well. The original stuff worked so well. I mean, there are obviously little bits of changes here and there, but not too much. So it's we're trying to keep the original ones bits and pieces. But obviously, some things you forgot what you did, and also with it, that recording was recorded live at the screening. So some people added stuff, did things here and there, so you can't exactly remember how and what you did. So it's not going to be 100% carbon copy. So there'll be a few different things in there.
Well, I mean, it's in a way, it's like a concert. Like you don't expect the band to sound exactly like it does on the CD.
Yeah.
If it does, then it's kind of like, are they lip syncing or something? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. But it's also, I mean, but you can't really change. I mean, each scene, the mood of each scene remains the mood of that scene. So you can't really change it too much. It has to encapsulate or enhance that instead of just doing whatever you want. We can't exactly do whatever we want. It's kind of set to match the images.
Because I mean, this is obviously very different from playing in a music venue where like there's only the music that's happening. Like obviously with the cinema, there's like, I mean, they're not set up for live music necessarily.
Yeah.
But like, have you?
You have to bring in external sound and sound engineer and get all the stuff. So that's such a crazy day. The day we do it. Well, this one is happening on Friday, the 18th of November. In case people don't have tickets yet, which I can get it quicker. We have to set up in the morning and then just cover everything up there because the rest of the lobby has shows still happening throughout the day. So we have to set up quickly before the first show starts and then come back half an hour before and just do a little line check. Because obviously, and sometimes everything's perfect until you sit down again to do the show that night. And then there's, why is this sound not working? That's not working. This is odd. And the monitors, it's always a hectic stress situation. But, push through it and usually sort it properly. The first guy was a guy called Clive. He had a little PA rental thing that he did, so we used him. And then after that, we had Simon Radcliffe.
Mm.
He was actually a lecturer at City Varsity,
Yes.
and he always pulled in his sound engineering students to help out and stuff. And one of them was Chris Hall, who's actually in the band Infanteria and
Okay.
Zombies at My Girlfriend. He still had long hair then. He did our sound once. Um, and then Tyron from Point Blank unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. He was the guy that did our sound the most.
Okay.
So he knew exactly what we needed, how it worked. So it was very sad when he passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
And one of his colleagues, Dirk, he started a company called Pineapple. We used him a few times, but this time round, and we've used Alan Simmons, who does our sound at Trenchtown and Roar when we play live Terminatrix shows there. He always does our sound. He's done it once, but he couldn't do it this year. So another engineer, lighting guy, Nishan, he'll be doing it this year for the first time.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting. But he's up to the task. He does like rocking the Daisies festivals and everything. So he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's just a time factor. You need to get everything into the
Mhm.
theater in the morning, get the sound
Yeah.
level sorted, make sure there are no issues in there. Then you go.
Yeah, no, like you said, it is always a very busy day, and you can tell like
Mm-hmm.
that it's everybody's like when you like you're standing in the line and you're kind of like you see people kind of coming in and going out of the theater and like they're always very very focused and very
I'm
busy.
usually running up to the projection booth, running down again. You want to say everyone wants to say hi, and you have to kind of not be rude and say I can't speak and run fast. But yeah, and it's also we also have to get the monitor the the visual monitoring because we've got the screen behind us, so
Yes.
you can't see what's happening. So we need to get monitoring in front so we can actually watch another screen
Yeah.
to
So you can
make
see
sure we do what we
which
need to
part of the movie you're
do. Yeah,
playing to.
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean we've done over a dozen of these. We've done all the main ones: Phantom of the Opera, Nosferatu, Faust, Hexen, Metropolis, Vampire. Even did that short Edison Frankenstein, the very first Little Frankenstein short. We did that one year. Machista in Hell. We've done Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So yeah, there's some cool ones that but there's still a few that we need to do, but we've done all the major ones, and some of them we've done a few times.
Yeah, I mean there's only so many sort of silent horror movies, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, and certainly fewer than there have been horror fests. So I mean, it's like it's. I was thinking about it just now because I was looking at the shirt. I was like, oh,
Mm,
established 2005. That means the 20th anniversary is 3 years away.
yeah.
And
Well,
that's
technically two, because it's if you count the years, but the first edition was in 2005.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it's the 18th one this year. Next year's the 19th. One after it'll be the 20th.
yeah. That's
2 decades. It's nuts.
that's an odd feeling because I remember being there from the second one. So it's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
this has gone on for a while, eh?
Mm.
So that brings us to this year's festival, I suppose. Apart from the opening screening of Nosferatu, the live studio, what with a live soundtrack, what other films can people expect at the cinema screenings this year?
Yeah, we've got it's quite a well, it's not strange, but it's kind of two festivals running at the same time
Hmm.
because some movies we can only screen in the cinema. We're not allowed
Yeah.
to have them online. So the bulk of the ones in cinema won't be online. I think there are
Yeah.
about three of them that will be online as well.
Okay.
So it's pretty much two festivals, which is I mean it's cool for the people in Cape Town to catch the ones in cinema, but the online ones people can obviously stream anywhere in South Africa,
Yeah.
which is nice too, because we always get requests or hear from people in Joburg when you're bringing it to Joburg, and but that's just such a schlep. It's well, not a schlep. It's just logistically, it's and to be sure that it'll work isn't always that good. We've done a few at the Bioscope, uh, independent
Hmm.
cinema. We've done a few sort of best ofs there in the past, but people were a bit slack to attend that, so we didn't really pursue it beyond a few. But now with the
Yeah.
online, we're also trying to convince people that you may have Netflix and Showmax, but those don't have everything, and Amazon Prime now as well. Fine, they've got a whole bunch of stuff, but none of the stuff at the Horrorfest you can watch there. Maybe exception of one or two, especially older
Yeah.
ones. So yeah, to try and convince people to take this week or 10 days out of their life to dedicate it to some cool horror movies they won't get to see anywhere else in South Africa. It's not that easy. But
Yeah.
yeah, so for the cinema, obviously we're doing the Rocky Horror Picture Show as well. That will be on the Saturday, the
Yeah.
19th, the day after Nosferatu. Opening's on the 18th, Friday. And on Sunday we will be doing a. You came to the monster from the
Oh
ocean
yes.
floor
Yeah, that
at
was
Celluloid.
great. That was great. It
16,
was so
it's a
cheesy.
16 millimeter film projection. Friend of ours, Marco, he's got this growing 16 millimeter film collection with projectors that he's purchased and fixed up. So, sort of going back to old school. Some people, I don't think there are some people who actually don't realize that there are no more film projectors. It's all digital. So this is it's a fun little thing, especially to link it to Dracula, the old Bela Lugosi's Dracula from the 30s. We'll be
Yeah.
screening that on 16 millimeter film. That will be on Sunday, the 20th at 6:15, and then after that is Mad Heidi, be the African and South African premiere of Mad Heidi. If you watch the
Yeah.
trailer, it's not the Heidi we 80s kids remember from SABC TV. This is a very different Heidi.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
So would you say that that's sort of it's got horror themes, but it's also just quite
Yeah,
bonkers. It's just like,
yeah.
oh, we're
It's
just
sort of
we're just having
it's
fun.
more of
Don't
an
take this too seriously.
yeah, it's got all these kinds of extreme elements. It's not full on horror. It's got some weird horror bits, but then like they call this the first Swiss exploitation movie. It's yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's yeah, you just have to see it, and you can only see it in cinema. You're not going to be able to stream it, and it only releases in Europe in November as well. So yeah,
Oh
it's
wow, okay.
a nice score we got. Actually, one of the a South African living in Switzerland, he contacted us and wanted to know if we'd be interested to look at that because it was also like a crowdfunding kind of campaign like they did with Iron Sky. So I said, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So he connected me with the producers, and they said, yeah, definitely, let's do it. So sometimes you strike luck like that, and then other times you have to wrestle and fight and struggle and negotiate to try and get something that sometimes some people don't even care about. You think it's a cool movie that everyone should see, but then you know not everyone agrees with that.
Why
So
is why is the cinema
it's a
empty?
juggle.
Where is
Yeah.
everyone? I thought this would be a
What's
hit.
wrong with you people? It's the best movie of the year. Yeah.
Get
No,
some
it's
taste.
yeah. Sometimes you can't win, but then sometimes something that you don't expect gets a whole bunch of people. It's weird. I mean, it depends on the time of the year, the time of the day. It's you just
Yeah.
and people can be fickle. They can decide last minute, okay, they're not interested to check it out anymore. But yeah, so that's the first opening weekend.
Okay.
And then in the week we got 2 shows a day for the rest of the week, and also the cinema screenings. It runs from the 18th to the 24th of November, but the
Yeah.
streaming runs from the 18th to the 30th. So it runs about a week beyond the cinema screenings. So people have enough time to catch up on stuff because you can also get a full festival pass for that. So it's much cheaper. You can across the whole festival period. You can then watch it at your own time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then on Monday the 21st of November at 6:15 we've got it's more of a chiller thriller than a horror movie called Influencer.
Okay.
But a kind of an Instagram influencer that gets into some trouble, and yeah, then you can you don't always know who follows you and who gets obsessed with you. So,
Oh yeah.
and if someone want to steal your identity, so it's an interesting, very very well made movie. But then that same evening at 8:30, we've got the South African movie Poe, which I think you interviewed the director as well.
Yes, Yaku Minar, and
Yeah,
yeah. So the cast and crew is going to be there, or some of the cast
yeah.
and crew, I
I'm
suppose.
not sure exactly how many or which ones, but they will be there in however many numbers. I'm not sure, but yeah. So that will be at
Yeah,
8:30 on Monday the 21st. Poe, well, it's Afrikaans word for peacock, in case people
yeah,
didn't know, not Edgar Allan Poe. And it's yeah, they call it Afrikaans gothic horror, and it's a very, it's well made, well acted. It's something that we lack.
yeah,
People always try to imitate stuff, but then or they try to make it too South African.
mm,
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's nice when there's like a bit of a good
yeah,
blend of that. That it feels indigenous, but not the same old, same old.
yeah. No, I
So
mean
yeah,
that. Yeah. So
they'll be
we,
there to introduce the movie and to do a little Q&A afterwards with the
mm,
audience if they care to stick around, which we would urge them to do,
yeah,
because you
and
don't get
I,
that.
yeah, no, I had a very interesting conversation with Yaku yesterday, but that's going to go out after this interview comes out.
Okay,
We're
cool. And then
I mean, yeah,
my,
it's a very interesting film that I think people are going to have interesting questions to ask about it afterwards.
yeah, okay. And on my birthday, the 22nd of November, it will
Hey,
be
birthday!
starting at 6:15, starting with The Harbinger, which is obviously when the whole pandemic happened, everyone started making these pandemic movies that will kind of age very rapidly. But the nice thing about this is it's got a very cool sort of demonic angle. Um, don't want to say too much about anything because you can give
Okay.
away something so easily, and we hate spoilers.
Yes, we do.
But yeah, it's a very very nice blend of the pandemic situation and kind of demonic forces. That's well worth checking out on the 22nd at 6:15. And then for the Chucky and Child's Play fans, brand new documentary, Living with Chucky, that same night, 22nd November at 8:30. Um, very cool documentary. Digs into all the
Mhm.
it it digs into everything except that remake that they did. So
Mm.
it's all the Child's Play and Chucky movies and the series attached to the original creators and actors and stuff. Not
Okay.
that sort of that unnecessary remake that they decided to churn out. But it was okay, but not great. So yeah, that's what this documentary just interview the writer, directors, actors, the effects people, the puppeteers. It's a very very cool. I mean, even
Yeah.
if you're not a Chucky fan, it's just for people who like movie documentaries. I love those, even if it's not the kind of genre or something that I like. It's always interesting to just delve into the background of how they created stuff. And this, I mean, that became like this phenomenon beyond anything else. So yeah, we haven't seen the second season of the series yet, but the
Yeah.
first season was very cool. And now it's sort of not a separate thing; it's still attached to all the previous movies.
Okay.
Makes it fun.
I mean, I
But
think you did review Chucky on your channel, right?
yes, we did the
Okay.
first season.
I thought
Yeah,
so.
yeah. No, it was fun. And then yeah, on the is it Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday the 23rd. At 6:15, we've got Eating Miss Campbell. It's a trauma movie,
Uh-huh.
which is just it's just so expect black humor, satire, crazy gore, and pranks. It's just
Yeah.
it's just nuts. One of those nuts movies that if you don't need to worry about thinking too much. You just enjoy the madness of it all.
Yeah.
So, but and also then that
Lots
same
of
night,
content, all the content warnings for that one.
yeah, no, for sure. Which kind of yeah. I don't know if you chat about the Film and Publications Board as well.
Oh no, that we'll get to them.
Okay. And then after that at 8:30 on the 23rd, another documentary, King on Screen.
Oh
Also
yes.
very cool documentary on the adaptations of Stephen King's movies um, across the years, which started with Salem's Lot, which we also reviewed at our channel, all the way through to the more recent ones. And I mean, dozens and dozens of movies that have been adapted.
Yeah.
So also ones that aren't exactly a horror, like Hearts in Atlantis and Green Mile and Stand By Me, those kind of things. But loads of directors talk about how they approached it. Mick Garris, a friend of ours, he's done so many. He holds the record for the most Stephen King adaptations. He did the Stand miniseries, the Shining miniseries, a whole bunch of movies, including Sleepwalkers, which was actually written by Stephen King, not based on any of his work. Okay. And that also has its 30. This week they had the 35th anniversary, or 30th or 35th anniversary screening of Sleepwalkers. I think, in fact, this weekend they did it. So yeah, it's just, if you love Stephen King, some people might not have read many. I mean, like me, I haven't read too many of his books. Sonia has read most of his older ones.
Yes, she definitely strikes me as a fan from basically from every video that you do where it's the Stephen King properties. Like
when Stephen King gets mentioned,
Paul turns to Sonia and Sonia tells him about the book.
Yeah, I've read like Misery and Doctor Sleep, but I should. But now the problem with that is, I think, which I've also said in some of these reviews, is I've seen most of these movies. Now to read it, my imagination won't come up with its own characters and people and places. Those movies are like stuck in your head, so you're going to basically just read the movie, and that's kind of a waste of time.
Yeah.
We got other things to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe you'll get some benefit out of reading The Shining, because there is a lot of stuff in that isn't in the film. But again,
then I saw Mick Garris's miniseries, which sticks closer to the book, so I do have that in my head.
And also, like, there's just isn't enough time to do all of it. You can't read all the books and watch all the movies and run all the festivals whole.
Yeah. But yeah, it's nuts, man. But it's a very cool documentary. So again, anyone who's into Stephen King, whether you love his books or the movies adapted from his books, or just a documentary on movies, it's encapsulates all of those, and it's a very very cool watch. And then the last day of our cinema screenings, November the 24th, Thursday, we start at 6:15 with Ghosts of the Ozarks.
Okay.
Which is kind of a post Civil War era America, which is very cool. Sort of dark forces, strange things happening in this little community out in the middle of nowhere. Very very cool movie. David Arquette's also got a little role in there. And then we close it with Terrifier 2. The first Terrifier, I enjoyed it, but it was a bit it became quite a cult movie, the first one. But the second one, even more so, because it's like just in overdrive, crazy madness, which is fun.
Take everything from the first one and just ramp it up by 100%. Then you're all good.
Time. Yeah. It's a crazy movie. If you like crazy kind of crazy clown slasher movies, this is now the one that the rest will be measured to. Besides it, this is the other crazy clown movie. We'll be closing with that then for the cinema shows on the 24th. But then obviously the streaming still goes on, and the ones that are streaming and in cinema are Ghosts of the Ozarks, as I just mentioned. The Harbinger and Eating Miss Campbell. Those will be streaming and in cinema. But then for the streaming ones, there are also other cool movies. Some of them, when we also didn't mention that the Horrorfest date shifted for various reasons. It's usually over Halloween season, but now it was like we had to push it to 3 weeks later. So we also don't know now if we're going, if people want to dress up like Halloween, we're definitely not going to discourage you.
Yeah.
If you want to dress up every day, go mad. We don't mind. We love it. So just don't feel like because it's not Halloween weekend, you have to come dressed all formally.
Use it.
You do what you want. But now some of the movies that were going to be in cinema, some of the cinema dates got shrunk down. So there was some are now just streaming where there would have been both. And one of them is Feed Me. It's a British movie about a guy who goes a bit off the rails and meets up with some nut who wants to eat him piece by piece.
Okay.
And so it's a very, very, very black comedy,
Yeah.
but well worth it. And I think Cradle of Filth fans, Danny Filth, the vocalist from Cradle of Filth, has a little role in there as well, so they might get a kick out of that.
Okay.
Um, and then and then a very interesting sort of experimental Japanese movie. I think it was compiled. It was sort of short chapters that the Japanese filmmaker made. Extraneous Matter. It's kind of a sci-fi, weird, kind of a alien, semi-alien invasion thing. Weird, erotic, fucking H.P. Lovecraft blend of stuff.
Okay.
And it's in black and white, and it's just
Hmm.
it's odd and strange and fun and just
Yeah.
very cool to watch. Just
Oh, I
you know,
like that.
so different from all other stuff. So if you
Yeah.
we're not just going to slap a bunch of slasher movies in a row. So put something
Yeah.
interesting in there as well that kind of changes it up a bit.
Yes.
And then the movie Nix. It's from the director of Sharknado,
But
which is kind of
this is a more serious film from the same
yeah,
person, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not in the vein of Sharknado. No
Yeah.
cheesy digital sharks flying around the sky. Now this is a more
Oh,
serious, kind of a family drama with all kinds of things that get resurrected from past, and not really a found footage thing, but a little kind of old video camera bits that sort of jump back and forth to something that they experienced, something dark that kind of ruined a lot of things. And Dee Wallace is in there as well. Everyone would
okay.
know her as E.T.'s mom. And another Stephen King movie that she was in Cujo.
Okay. Huh.
And she was also in The Howling, so she's been in quite a few horror movies. And lately, she's been popping up again in some indie movies. So it's fun. It's good to see her again. Um, and then the Soska twins. I don't know if anyone's seen American Mary. It's one of their first movies that they made from Canada. Made a new movie called On the Edge, which
Hmm.
is kind of a dark, erotic thriller.
Yeah.
If you can't handle nudity, you shouldn't be watching that. So that's that's what that's going to be.
Yeah, and
But a guy
members
goes to like a sorry.
they were members of the jury last year, weren't they?
Yes, yeah, that's right. Sorry, I almost forgot about that. Yeah, um, and we yeah. So it's about this kind of a family man that
Hmm.
goes to this dominatrix and things go a bit pear-shaped. He didn't
Okay.
things that he doesn't expect start happening.
Okay.
You know,
Hmm.
strange, very, very strange things. And then Ratzenest
Oh
is from
yes.
Johannes Grenzfurthner, director from Vienna. Last year's movie Masking Threshold, we screened of his. I think it
Oh
won
yes. Okay.
it won
Yeah,
a few
that was a
awards.
very interesting film. That was a very
It's
interesting film.
completely
Very
it's such a different
yeah.
vision and different angle to horror.
Yeah.
It's very unique. Very
I
and this
mean,
one
yeah.
again very unique. It's not your run of the mill stuff.
Hmm.
Masking Threshold was basically sort of narration and audio based and lots
Yeah.
of macro photography. Very, very interesting. And this movie, and it has a, a South African character as one of the lead characters. He's this asshole director, and
Okay.
it is technically you can almost it's like a very kind of a meta movie, and it is a kind of like a found footage movie, sort of a mockumentary blend, but it's kind of like an audio found footage movie because
Okay.
the movie you're watching is supposed to be the movie that this guy made, and they're doing a commentary track for it at a studio.
Okay.
So as
Interesting.
you're watching this commentary is running, so you don't ever see the people. You just see the movie, and you hear them
Okay.
talking, recording this, and then weird shit starts happening as it goes along. So it's yeah. The best way I can say is
Okay.
just like all the stuff he does. It's extremely unique, and
Yeah.
it's not something you'll really find anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean,
It's so cool.
Masking Threshold was for me definitely one of the highlights from last year.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I got a few.
is
I
it?
think we awarded it with a few things.
Yeah.
Was it director or writing and cinematography? I think yeah, it got nominated for quite a few and won a
Yeah.
couple. So yeah, but we'll be doing a little awards thing again this year as well,
Oh, good.
just to acknowledge the filmmakers for all their hard work. I mean, people don't realize, you know, even not all of these movies are low budget, but even if a movie is low budget, doesn't mean that you don't need to put in the exact same energy and effort and trouble to make this thing.
Yeah.
So we understand that people put a lot into it. So, and it's in the long run, when a movie is actually good and it's got all its laurels on its poster, I mean, it really helps to kind of just let people take more notice of the movie and the filmmaker for their next project. And that's always what it's about. It's trying to make a good movie so you can make a better one every time.
Obviously, as part of running the festival, you've gone and watched a whole lot of horror movies. Obviously, not all of them that can make it into the sort of running time for the festival.
But that's the bummer for us every year. It's just, I mean, the amount of movies besides the ones that people submit and the ones that we want to get and go and find, there's just so many that we can't include, just time wise, and it's frustrating. That's partially why we started the Celluloid Film Festival and the X Fest, which we haven't done in a while. Because it's more of a acquired taste, and it's more difficult to put that together. But I mean, we got movies that are more sci-fi than horror, so, and sometimes animation or fantasy based. So we just kind of transplant those to the Celluloid Festival instead, so we can still show them in another event, but try and get as many as the horror movies into the Horror Fest as we can. But with the short films, just the dozens and dozens and dozens of short films that we cannot include. It's heartbreaking sometimes, because there's just something so cool about this movie, but it's just not horror enough, so you have to keep that one. It's crap decision process. But anyway.
But I mean, it is quite like a kind of a continuum between horror and sci-fi. I mean, and actually fantasy as well. I mean, there are sort of it's it's a bit hard to be that restrictive about like this.
No, for sure.
This isn't horror enough to get into this. This is more sci-fi or whatever.
It's like Extraneous Matter, the Japanese one I told you about, the black and white strange sci-fi one. That is not very horror, but it's sort of it's all kind of linked slightly. And I mean, if you look at something like, some people would like the Silence of the Lambs movies, Hannibal, all those things. That's not. I guess if something is horrific, when is it actually horror? Does it have to be supernatural horror? You've got paranormal horror. You've got just sort of serial killers. It could just be an extreme thriller as opposed to horror. But no, you have to get the variety in there and just get all the different horrors of the universe and just shove in there.
I mean,
including documentaries like we've got Alive on the Farm, which is just so weird. This is like a very the submissions are already closed, but then these guys contacted us and see if they can still submit it after the closing date. So I said, okay, let's check it out, and it's just, man, it's so bizarre. It's a real found footage movie about this guy who, it's a neighbor on this farm close to them that videotaped everything. This kind of English farmer, and he just videotaped the most random, mundane, weird shit, and kind of put these tapes together and give it to the neighbors to watch. And this guy remembered it from way back, and then he encountered it again a couple of decades later, and started seeing stuff that he couldn't remember, because remember his dad switched the thing off at one stage, and he never knew why until he's now found this tape again, because you've got the found footage film festivals and stuff that sort of just, as they call it, it's not found footage, they call it lost media. Is it lost media? Anyway, so it's basically people go to like a kind of a what do you call it, like a boot sale or something, and they just get a bunch of video VHS tapes, even stuff taped off TV, people's home movies, and then people are fascinated with just finding all this weird shit that people have collected on their VHS tapes over the decades.
Yeah.
And this is one of them, and it just turned into this whole phenomenon. Everyone just wanted to check this out. This strange farmer and some of the
Yeah.
Also, don't want to say what happens, but it gets fucking weird.
Okay.
So it's a very cool documentary as well. But then another one, we've got 4 documentaries. We've got the Chucky documentary, the Stephen King documentary, Life on the Farm, and Rondo and Bob.
Okay.
It's also a very kind of odd documentary. It's about Robert Burns. Was he the art director? The art director for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Hills Have Eyes, The Howling, Reanimator, movies like that. So, and he had this fascination with Rondo Hatton. It's an actor. It's a guy who had this kind of a disease that misformed his face. He started becoming this kind of like monster-looking guy, like this very nice, timid person, but he looked like this kind of a freak. And he started playing in movies, like playing these thugs and stuff. And just a strange documentary, but then it's got these sort of reenactments of stuff that happened as well with these 2 characters and their separate journeys through life. And it's just so cool to include something that's just so different. But yeah, so every year I always wonder, are we going to have a documentary this year? And then end up with like 4 of them. Throughout the years we've had so many cool documentaries, and people kind of sometimes forget that documentary can sometimes be much better than some narrative film, because just these facts that they show you, and sometimes it's like mind-blowing, sometimes it's totally bizarre or just entertaining. They've got all of that. Sorry.
No, I was going to ask, speaking of staples, the other one is obviously the short films, which we'll talk about, but you were going to say, I think there was another feature film you were going to mention?
Yeah, I think there's another 2 left for the streaming ones. An Irish zombie movie called Follow the Dead.
Okay.
At some stage, I guess Walking Dead kind of killed the zombie movie now for a bit, although it's Walking Dead is a series, but now zombies have now kind of, they need to lay off on them for a bit so they can resurrect again, as it were. But yeah, so Follow the Dead, it's a zombie comedy set in Ireland, so it's also it's like a bit of a different angle again, not to the extent of Shaun of the Dead, but it's fun. It's like that was like kind of a British angle, and this is an Irish angle, and it's sort of linked to sort of social media and stuff, so it's got another different angle into that. And then another strange, interesting, weird movie is Agatha. It's a kind of sort of experimental, no real dialogue, visuals, animated sort of scenes that are animated, shot scenes that are animated over. It's got this whole movie's got this red hue and this animated feel. It's was it Waking Life? Which was that Linklater movie? Scanner Darkly.
Yes.
And I think it's Waking Life, right? So it's got that kind of a feel for the animated over video.
Rotoscoping.
But there's obviously sort of done more digitally, but it's got this very kind of surreal, trippy look and feel to it. And it's a fun watch. Some dark stuff, but it's a horror festival.
Yeah.
There's the feature films, but then the short films, we've got 5 chapters again.
5
2 hours. Yeah. I think the last 3 years we've had like 5 chapters.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
12 hours about.
Because that's always the thing. I make sure I watch all of it. So I think maybe
and that's usually, and for some reason that's the thing that people don't really pay much attention to, when that is like, to us that was since the beginning of the RP, that's kind of one of the highlights, because it's
the best.
It's got these.
Why would you not go to a screening where you can watch 10 movies? At the same time, like
no. And it's got every single subject you can think of. Animation. There's just it's from every part of the world. I mean, we've also got Ryan Kruger, who did Fried Barry.
Okay.
From Cape Town. His movie Alien Dick. So it's sort of kind of not really sci-fi-ish, but we also screened it at Silly Droid, but we thought people at Horrorfest must also see it.
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah. So
Science fiction and horror, I think both.
good blend. Yeah. So we've got from South Africa, Spain, the States, Australia. It's just the uh, South African. I think they're living in the UK now. The guys, Mensvreters, last year we did
Oh
their short film.
yes, I remember
This
that
one
very
with
clearly. That was a
Zek.
very memorable short,
People,
incredibly
people,
disturbing.
people who remember South African Afrikaans TV from the 80s, there was this
Zed,
religious
where's
kid
Zed?
TV show with this guy in this furry suit character called Zet.
Zed had
But
it
now
coming. Zed had
this
it
group,
coming.
Main Streeters, they're a cannibal rap act, and Zet is their DJ.
Oh,
And it's bizarre. So they just get up to gory
okay.
shit again in this one. It's just well worth watching. Yeah, so those are the sort of the South African connections. But then, like I said, it's absolutely everywhere from across the planet. Just such a cool batch of movies, and we kind of space them out over five feature length chapters. So there's lots to watch and lots that people end up missing out on if they don't know about it. Then it's just pull finger and check it out. It's But also, what we usually do is we because it's so many, we can't show them all at the Laber Theatre for the cinema section. But now with the date that changed, quite a few dropped out, which included the cinema selection for the short. So there won't be a cinema screen, sort of the best shorts, although they're all great. So just go on to the streaming, check them all out.
Yeah,
you've got like 10 days to do that.
I think possibly my favorite addition from the last couple of years is like actually having the streaming chapter added to it, because then at least like if there's some stuff that you like, okay, I'm not going to be able to take a night off to go watch this movie in a cinema and take the time to
I mean, it is
like
we are fully aware of the fact. Besides, I mean, like you and Candy and some people that we met across the years that have been just almost every single show. We think, gee, man, it's such a demanding thing to get someone to come watch almost every single movie, and it's so cool that people do that, but you can't expect. So obviously with the online section came in with the whole pandemic lockdown, because we went through. We were going to actually have cinema screenings, although we did get to do a couple of those, actually quite a few, far more than we expected. But then we didn't dump the online; we just kept it because it spreads beyond Cape Town.
Yeah.
People in Joburg and Durban and everywhere else in Southern Africa. And even, like you say, if you can't make it, you just can't make it. And if that show's done, it's done.
Yeah.
And you might still be able to catch it online or see something that you don't get to see in the cinema.
Yeah.
So it's got sort of best of both all over the place.
And if you're watching one of the short film collections and there's one that you really don't like, you can always like skip ahead like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Sometimes they're like longer ones, 20-minute ones. Sometimes it's like 1 minute. Sometimes those are the best. Just these quick in out done freaking crazy little pieces. We didn't have as many short ones this year as last year. We had quite a couple, which were fun. But yeah, so we blend them out, stretch them out, kind of mix it up. Different parts of the world, different sort of genre variants, sub-genres in it. So yeah, it's got everything.
Yeah, no, I think that'll be. I mean, for me, that's always one of the reasons to go. Because they are so. It's so wildly different from one to the other.
Yeah, and then some of the shorts you can't really say, is it a zombie movie, a vampire, or a paranormal thing? It's just weird.
Yeah.
Cool weird.
Yeah.
No, we love it. It's but just like we mentioned, just having going through everything and loving almost every one of them, but you have to kind of drop like 3/4 of them because it's just can't fit them all in. It's hectic. And but then sometimes if there's one that is really 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 good, that we see if we can maybe put it in the next year. Although it's a year later, but it's still a cool show. We just pop it in if we can.
Yeah.
But we also want to encourage people that when you just watch it, you don't really take note of the director's name maybe, but then just take a bit of time and just go look these people up.
Yeah.
Sometimes they've made other ones and some new stuff coming up. You just kind of discover these unknown filmmakers that make incredible stuff that you just didn't know existed.
And I know from past years, I've kind of discovered whole industries in terms of filmmaking. Like, who would have thought that the Spaniards make this many horror films that are this interesting? Who knew that the Italians are still doing such completely off the wall like shorts? They're just like, who else would make this film? I can't think of anyone else who would come up with this idea or like finish filming this thing. It's great. It's
that's a cool thing. I mean, like, we also have one from Nigeria. It's just different cultures have such a different take on what horror is, and sometimes it's such a cool combination of this kind of unique thing, and then the cinematography is good, the sound is good, the acting good. Sometimes it might not be good on all levels, but there's just something so cool about it because it's so different. So we try and get them all in there.
So, I mean, we did mention that the dates did get shifted. So from where it has always been to like end basically around Halloween, it's now moved to the end, well, the middle,
mid-November,
from mid to end November.
Yeah.
Do you want to say a little bit about why that happened, or
do you want to?
I don't really bother. You don't want to bother explaining necessarily, because it's just like,
it's like, I guess, I mean, it's not like it's a secret. It's just such a drag, man. The Film and Publications Board, South African censors, pretty much, they had new regulations where film festivals have to register with them. Well, if you put on a film festival, you must register with them, and then whichever festival you do, you must then register with them as well. On top of that, submit all the stuff, because they have to now give you clearance to do the festival. I mean, it's as if we're going to now pick a real snuff film to screen at the Horrorfest. You know what I'm saying? That's just not going to happen, or worse. So, but it's now, the law is the law, and they have to kind of force us to abide by it. So we had to go through the whole rigmarole. But now the whole process, the time frame was too short leading up to our date for them to now go through. I mean, the paperwork and the red tape and the stuff we had to do to register, and paperwork for this, that, and the other, and affidavits, and all the movies must be listed and ticked exactly what is in it, from blasphemy to violence and sex. It's nuts. Also brings me to, we thought everything was now nice and done. We got our certificate, and they came back to us with some of the movies that they say must now get submitted for full classification, which they don't explain what that entails. So now this week, a week leading up to this, we have to say, what are you talking about? What is this? Does it mean it's just going to cost us more? Is that kind of the main thing? But we'll have to see. So hopefully we'll get it all sorted out, but hopefully we won't need to pull anything, which is, we've never for 17 editions, we stuck to the dates. We screened everything we said we were going to screen. There were 1 or 2 movies, I think, that kind of didn't happen because of technical reasons. And sometimes when people get distribution while they submitted their movie, like with this year as well, a couple of people had to withdraw their movies because they submit it and then they get distribution for it, and then all festivals must get cut off because those distributors now need to put it where they want to put it and cash in on it where that's going to be cashed in on. So sometimes stuff fall out, and like last minute, what we've done a few times for the cinema screenings was then, you do something like Night of the Living Dead, like a classic public domain movie that you can't go wrong with, and then you actually almost get more people attending that than they would have otherwise.
Well,
you just never can tell.
It's hard to go wrong with Night of the Living Dead, honestly. I mean, it's a classic for a reason.
but we also, I guess we can't show it every year. But now,
No, no, no.
if there's a gap to fill, hey, there are always some sure things you can go back to, or like Peter Jackson's Bad Taste.
Yeah.
You know, it's or like for Celluloid. Unfortunately, this year we didn't do Plan 9 from Outer Space like we do
Oh,
every year.
that's always a winner.
We had
Always a
limited slots.
winner.
The thing is also with the Largo Theatre. I mean, they've accommodated us for freaking 18 years, and they're
Yeah.
always in a. It's not highly commercial movies. There's no guarantee how many people will pitch up for
Yeah.
screening. But, so the screening slots kind of shrink down a bit. Like also like with our Sound on Screen Music Film Festival. Like last year, we didn't have any cinema screenings. It was just online,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So we don't know if that'll be the case again early next year for that as well.
Okay.
But hey, we try and we see. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's with this
Gotta make
whole
adjustments.
film and publications board thing. It was a financial hit and a bit of a morale slasher because it was a case of, I mean, are we going to do this now? Are we going to, because we can't just ignore them and go ahead and then
Yeah.
get a 150,000 rand fine or get sent to jail for showing horror movies. I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah, no,
So we
that's
just had to do it, and
yeah.
now, so we're going to go. So we shifted it on by a few weeks just to kind of have time to get it all sorted because we didn't want to cancel. There's no way we were going to cancel it.
Yeah.
That was just not going to happen. But we're well next year. Then now, it will be back to Horrorfest period because it has to be.
Yeah.
The Halloween dress up. I mean, there were just so many that weekend. There were just so many Halloween things happening. It was almost like a bit saturated.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a Halloween party, even if it's obviously
Even
not
if it has nothing to do with Halloween or is not Halloween themed at all.
It can be a coffee shop or a cake shop. It's Halloween, so anyone can just slap Halloween on it, which is cool.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
no
complaining.
This year the shops had like so little Halloween stuff in the shops. I mean, it's usually a case of the Christmas stuff comes out before Halloween even.
Yeah.
And this year I just hardly spot, except for the in Gardens that party shop.
Party City.
Yeah,
they're
like
Party City. I think
so the party shop, they make a big thing of Halloween because they've got their stuff they need to sell. But
they've got merch to
regular
sell.
stores, I mean, not even like little pumpkin jelly sweet, pumpkin shaped jelly sweets. There was just nothing this year.
Nope.
That we noticed. I mean, there might have been elsewhere, but I just didn't notice anything. So hopefully next year we'll be back to Halloween time. But
the best time of the year.
Yes. It was the most difficult one for us this year. So which also gave us sort of less time to, although we have done the soundtrack before, so it's just picking up and remembering and getting the muscle memory back to what to play where and how. But it did waste a whole lot of our time that we were just ready to we already sent out press releases, we printed stuff, it was all done, and then we had to now flip over and just pretty much just start from scratch again, which is it's already so draining while you're doing it, and I have to do it a second time. So, even with like Facebook ads, which I have to set up today, you don't necessarily reach everyone that you hope you reach. And word of mouth. I mean, even friends and family don't even go to these movies because if you don't like horror movies, you can't force someone to like horror movies. So it's very niche, and we try our best to reach everyone. Who would get a kick out of it. So, we try and encourage people to spread the word. Which reminds me, for the audience prizes and giveaways and stuff. This year we've got a whole bunch of Disney Plus subscriptions.
Oh yes.
To give away, as well as Mr. Lucky's Cape Town tattoo vouchers. So preferably if you're in Cape Town, but if you're in Joburg and you win it and you know that you'll be coming down to Cape Town, just let us know that yes, you can use it. Otherwise, it'll be more Cape Town based prizes. And the guys from Sad Shirts are giving us some stuff.
Okay.
I think they said that the stock is low, so they might do vouchers and stuff. So always have some cool little Cthulhu T-shirt designs and stuff that people would love. We've got books. Guys from Penguin, for years now, Penguin have been giving us books to give away at the festival, which is great. And UIP got some sort of just cool random, because we were hoping to get lots of sort of Halloween ends merch, but there was nothing for that.
Really?
Which UIP released. So we've got like a bunch of random sort of movie merch, just cool stuff.
Okay.
Why not? Okay.
We'll take it.
So,
we'll look at you funny, but we'll take it.
Yes. Give it to your niece, like little the new Jurassic Park movie, little Jurassic Park sort of dinosaurs. But
anyway,
but
we'll take the
for
merch.
Disney Plus, that's the thing with streaming services.
Yeah.
We got Showmax, the local one, because it's got random movies that we won't bother to go watch, but if you want to watch it, you can watch it. And then HBO stuff, which is cool to watch. And then, sometimes movies pop up that you missed. So that's handy. And it's not so expensive.
And they've got What You Do in the Shadows.
That's What We Do in the Shadows as well. Yeah, we actually did a review of those. And we're waiting for the new season now. I think that's taking a bit long.
They are taking long.
Series, I think it's Showtime stuff they have as well, which I think was the Chucky series. So we'll wait and see till those pop on. So while it's still affordable, I think we'll hang on to it. We've got Amazon Prime, which I don't think we've watched in months.
Yeah.
So we've got Netflix. The Dahmer series was cool. We watched Netflix probably more than we expected to recently. It's got lots of fun. Sonia likes her true crime kind of stuff and paranormal things. So all those things we check out. But now
they do have a lot of true crime.
Plus, we were now thinking, when I Disney Plus, that means it's Disney stuff, Marvel and Star Wars, and I'm not interested in Marvel, and we've got all the Star Wars that we want on the Blu-ray box set. But then, they released the Predator prequel, Prey. On there. We were hoping that the Hellraiser, which is attached to Hulu, we were expecting that to pop up, but then that just never happened. So I don't know if it will down the line. And they've got the Predator Alien movies. They've got nice little horror section on Disney Plus. But then I'm sure most people will, just dig it for general content that they have. So we've got about half a dozen subscriptions to give away across the festival. And if people want to do that, if you buy a ticket, then you're in line. The more tickets you buy, the more you're in line for it. And if you spread the word about the Horrorfest with the hashtags that we give you on the site, then even more of a triple chance. So
there we go.
We used to do, the reason we did this was every single Horrorfest, when the distributors, it was New Metro, Stakinico, and Next. They're all printed DVDs and Blu-ray movies. And that's just completely dried up. So we used to have this stack of movies. I think you won one. I know.
We did one. I'm still working through them.
So sometimes it's like this cheap crap flipping stuff, but then it's cool things like the Mick Garris Fear Itself series, which is like the Masters of Horror, which he did as well. It's some of those shows episodes are even better than those ones. So sometimes we got some really, really cool ones, cool movies and series, and stick it in this whole collection, and one person wins that. So now we can't do that anymore, and I guess lots of people threw away their DVD and Blu-ray players, so they can't, even if they did.
Yeah.
Hey, we hang on to all of our stuff.
Yeah.
We still got our VHS player, so I've got some stuff on VHS.
Dedication for you.
No, but I've got stuff on VHS that it hasn't been re-released on DVD. It's not on any streaming service. Everyone assumes, that's fine. Until you start looking for stuff that you really want, it's not on. They only stream what they have access to, and if it's gone, it's gone, and there you go. So then our kind of movie collection prize this year is a streaming subscription for a whole bunch of our viewers.
And I mean, like you were saying, there are so many different streaming services out there now that, like, if you can get one for free, then that's going to save you a lot of money, actually, in the long run.
I mean, another reason we actually got it was for the X-Files, because
Oh, yes.
When it got released, it was so random. It was, I don't know when was it? on Friday nights, like once a week. So if you miss
Mm.
it, you miss it, and then sometimes it's like months you didn't see a single X-Files movie. I mean, show. So
Yeah.
now we kind of starting from the beginning. Go, I definitely cannot remember this one, this one, this one.
Nope.
So
Yeah.
it's nice to catch up, and there's like 10 seasons of that. So
Yeah. I mean, the search function is very helpful. They don't always necessarily punt all the horror stuff on
yeah,
the front page, but if you search around, you'll find some very interesting old things as well. So I was going to ask about the Bloody Parchment thing as well. Last year
yeah,
or the year before, I think it was basically some of the authors just reading stuff to camera and
online.
posting it online.
Yeah, it's the same again this year. We're not
Okay.
doing the live in person one yet again. We're
Okay.
going to look at that again from next year. So this year,
Okay.
Bloody Parchment, local authors reading from bits of their work again
Yeah.
at the Horrorfest YouTube channel. It'll be uploaded there. That's another thing I still have to finish this week is edit all those together and upload them, and
Okay.
it's going to be
How,
a
yeah, I
very
mean,
busy week.
how is the YouTube channel going? Sort of veering off a little bit maybe from Horrorfest.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of created it just to do stuff for the festival.
Mm,
But I mean, we watch so many horror movies, we thought we might as well just start doing reviews of
yeah.
them, movies in the series. Oh, it's cool. We don't, it's just such a, you have to go so deep to, push and push and
Mm,
push to kind of get the algorithm to be favorable and
yeah.
get people to even bother to find you, let alone,
Watch.
stick there and watch. And, you
Yeah.
have to be very regular with it. Like we have our, okay, besides the Horror festival time
Yeah.
period, we have at least one upload a week every
Yeah.
Friday. But then when the Horror Fest on, we don't do any. We don't really get to do movie reviews like we usually do on the Friday. We got like
Yeah.
movie trailers and kind of horror related stuff that we throw up there and chuck
How
on
dare
the
you? How
screen.
dare you not find an extra 7 days in your week, Paul? For
Yes,
shame.
and the time it takes to edit the freaking thing together and
Yeah.
uploading info. Yeah,
I mean,
sometimes
it's
I spend too much time editing the thing sometimes, trying to,
yeah.
because you mention something, let me go find this and put a little piece of that in there. And it all just adds up to hours and hours and hours
Yeah.
of editing
Yeah.
instead of just that. Even when we do our kind of in-car reviews, when we come straight from the movie, we get in the car, stick on the GoPro and do the review on the spot. Um, even then you kind of need to add little bits of things in there.
Yeah.
Like you don't want. I hate these jump cuts constantly in YouTube interviews
Yeah.
or reviews or discussions. I don't like those cuts. So I'd like to mask it with some image or something
Mm,
or a transition. But yeah, that's just me. I
yeah.
think nowadays YouTube viewers they kind of probably expect it or they don't notice it anymore. Just people
Mm.
jumping around constantly. I hate it. So I've been video editing since the early mid 90s, and yeah, it just grates me when that happens.
Okay.
But what can you do? That's the way it's
Yeah.
done. But yeah, so to try and get like 1 million followers on YouTube is a freaking task and a half.
Yeah.
So we don't put as much in as we should to make that happen, but we try, and there's some people who appreciate it and like it and drop comments, and we don't expect people to agree with us. In fact, we
Yeah.
prefer people not to agree with us to see what they think about something, because
Yeah.
everyone's taste is so different. Um, but yeah, it's fun, and we're gonna once the horror fest simmers down again, we'll get back to doing our reviews once a week, and yeah,
Yeah.
keep crunching it out.
Yeah, no, it's I mean it's a lot. I mean, from consuming the actual media that you're reviewing and then recording the review and then editing the review and then
Mm.
posting it and trying to make sure that anybody watches it. It's a lot of time and effort that
And,
goes
and
into
and
it.
and that is usually the thing. By the time you get to that, it's like, I don't want to now have another couple of days
Yeah.
punting this thing in somewhere or another. And even I mean, some people, actually put money into it, like sort of boosting a post to get
Yeah.
people to come watch this thing. And if you get any return from that, it's not going to balance out what you put into it. So we do it for the fun and just kind
Mm.
of build up a catalog of stuff and just take it from there.
So, which other horror films and things are you looking forward to in the next, say, 6 months?
And I don't know. I haven't even given it much thought.
Haven't been able to look.
I want to see the new Hellraiser, but now Disney Plus, it's just
Yeah,
not popping up on there. So I don't know if it's going to be strictly on Hulu and not anywhere else.
yeah,
But hopefully it'll jump up there soon. But I don't know. Now,
yeah.
which brings me to our jury this year.
Oh yes,
Um,
yes. Sorry, I forgot to ask about the jury.
our international jury. Besides Sonia and I, we've got Chris Alexander. I've known him for decades now. I mean,
Hmm.
Canadian guy. He was Fangoria magazine's editor for a long time in the early 2000s.
Okay,
Um, Last year we had Tony Timpone, who was the editor before him at Fangoria.
okay,
So and Chris is also a musician and a filmmaker. He's done these kind of avant-garde, like fever dream movies. He says like with sort of strange vampire things and stuff.
okay,
And he's also doing work with the guys at Full Moon who
okay.
do all those Puppet Master and those
Oh,
Doll Man
glorious.
movies. Those excellent stuff. And then we also have Nicholas Vince. He was the Chatterer Cenobite in the first two
Oh,
Hellraiser
nice.
movies. So yeah, he's actually chatted with him the other day, and he was expecting the same thing with um, uh, this new Hellraiser to pop up on Disney Plus, and yeah, he also
Yeah.
hasn't even seen. So it's a bit of an annoyance. And then also Kat Ellinger, she's a kind of a horror scholar who she does lots of commentaries on old classic
Okay.
re-releases on DVD and Blu-ray. She's got a podcast, does lots of writing on film and
Okay.
just kind of genre film horror stuff, and old school. And she's produced some documentaries on old movies and filmmakers as well. But yeah, so then that's the five of us will be this year's jury. Um, Nice to get a little sort of we had just had kind of local jury members until last year, and I thought,
Yeah.
over the years we've got to know all of these people from all over the place. We had Mick Garris as well, which we mentioned,
Yeah.
done the most Stephen King movie adaptations and series adaptations. I had him last year. We know all these people. Just all you can do is ask. They can say yes or no, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the only thing that the
So
worst thing they can do is say no.
yeah, and it's just nice to get a broader perspective and a kind of an international thing because we also I don't know if did we mention it last year that we got a couple of sort of made the best horror film festival lists of
Yes, you
Movie
did.
Maker
You did mention
magazine
that last time.
and Dread Central. Yeah, so at least it's kind of get acknowledged with the the back-breaking mission to make this whole thing happen. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we also got more kind of higher profile submissions, usually just kind of indie studios that you've never heard of. So I mean, this year we got a couple more that is yeah, bit higher profile than the usual submissions.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean that sounds like there's going to be more than enough for people to watch and do at this festival. Um,
Definitely.
so I know you're a busy man, so we'll let you get back to all of the
Thanks,
organizing
man.
that you
Yeah.
are probably doing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, thanks, and like have a. I hope you have a really really great Horrorfest this year, despite
Thanks,
all
man. Well,
the sort
definitely.
of
Yeah, the headaches. There are always headaches. It's just you just categorize the headaches and make them work in your favor if you
yeah
can. But yeah, no, people they can find everything at horrorfest.info. Um, our Horrorfest profile at Quicket, where the streaming happens at Quicket, and the tickets for the cinema screenings are also at Ticket, all in one location.
yeah
Yeah, and our YouTube channel is The Horrorfest. You can go find it there. Yeah, we're on Facebook, obviously, Instagram, Twitter, SA Horrorfest. So just search for it, find it, and yeah, spread the word because actually not many people know about this festival after 18 editions. You'll be
wow
surprised how many
yeah
people don't, and you'll be surprised how many people do know about it but have never been. So
for shame.
and And you encounter people who kind of hear about this movie at the festival and they go, oh, cool, and then go download it instead of coming to watch it at the festival or stream it at the festival, regardless of the mission we went through to make it happen. You know?
Uncool. So, uncool.
Yes. So
cool.
It's fun. Check it out. And yeah, the more people support it, the better we can make it. So we can only try our best.
Indeed. So thanks very much. Have a great afternoon, and looking forward to seeing you at the festival.